You seem to trust journalists more than I do.
I trust certain journalists, yeah.
Yeah, I do. Certain ones I do. Yeah. Not a lot. And
not a lot?
No. And everything I read, whatever source, it's only half the truth. They print the narrative. They don't print truth.
That's a generalization, though.
Well, it is, really? But it's because it's generally true.
What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from the Quartering. I hope you're having an absolutely wonderful day. And Seth Macfarlane, I mean, we all know in between the endless plastic surgeries, he has a propensity to kneel before the establishment. He absolutely loves his far leftist overlords that allow him to have 7 shows on TV at one time. And look, I admit, early Family Guy, hilarious. I still think American Dad is doing great work. I don't think he has much to do with these shows anymore, but Seth Macfarlane now really wants you to see him as an intellectual, and he's going around and he's been on Bill Maher a couple of times, and now he just completely embarrasses himself and reveals his own Trump derangement syndrome by saying that we must trust journalists and that they've never been better. And that if you don't trust a journalist, then you're doing exactly what Trump wants? Literally what? If you haven't yet, leave a like on this video and comment down below. If you're not following or subscribed, it would mean a lot if you subscribe today or followed today. Do it to help fight Trump derangement syndrome. Real-time host Bill Maher had a tense exchange with Family Guy creator Seth Macfarlane over media trustworthiness, with Macfarlane being way more trusting of news organizations. Now, there isn't a single news organization that I trust, period. There are individual journalists, right? There are individual people I trust. But for the most part, any organization is more interested in advertising dollars. They don't report the news. Many times they create it. By the way, this is true of both sides of the aisle. Many people, I think, unfairly let Fox News off the hook. But certainly I don't trust Fox News very much either. Just look at how they treated Tucker, for example. But he goes on, while discussing toxicity on social media, Macfarlane began railing against the comment sections on news websites. I don't know many news websites that even have their comment section open anymore, to be totally honest with you. Citing the New York Times as an example of where readers' impression of an article is radicalized one way or another. It's like the reporter took the time to research this, to fact check it, oversight from an editor, Macfarlane said. And if they got it wrong, then they have to print a retraction. Literally, what? The New York Times constantly gets things wrong, just like the Rolling Stone magazine does, just like everybody else. And when they print a retraction, it's 5 days later on the last page. They don't care about getting it right. They care about getting the narrative out there that they want. They care about pandering. None of these news media outlets are not interested in winning new viewers. They're desperate to keep the ones they have, and therefore they can't afford to ruffle feathers. Bill Maher chimes in, or is it just slanted? What if it was just slanted? What if it's not wrong, just slanted? That's what somebody's putting out in the comment section. Then write to the editor, Macfarlane exclaimed. Do your research and formulate an argument. But that appears weeks later, Maher fired back. By then, I wouldn't have forgotten it, or I don't see it. The TED producer went on to assert that we take for granted that the work of journalists is put on the same shelf as everyone else's spur-of-the-moment BS. You seem to trust journalists more than I do, Bill Maher said. I trust journalists, yeah, Macfarlane said. I mean, are they the ones that told you where to get all that weird plastic surgery? Is that who you buy your Botox from? Certain ones I do, not a lot, Bill Maher said, referring to journalists. Not a lot, shocked Macfarlane said. No, Maher doubled down. Everything I read, whatever source, it's only half the truth. They print the narrative, they don't print the truth. And that's 100% correct. And again, just so you guys, don't accuse me of being some kind of partisan hack, I believe this is true on all sides of mainstream media. I also think that they are prone to skew the truth altogether when you're talking about big investors. Now, I don't have any proof of it. It's just a feeling I have. But, you know, when big drug companies are spending $100 million a year advertising with your paper, I'm not sure that you've got the cojones to, you know, really hold them to task like you would, let's say, some Trump supporter in a trailer in Arkansas who tweeted something mean. Maher then doubled down. Everything I read, whatever the source, is only half the truth. That's a generalization, though, isn't it? Macfarlane followed. Well, that's because it's generally true, Maher said, sparking laughs and applause from the audience. They print the side of the story that, by that way, that's exactly what Donald Trump wants. Don't trust the reporters. Don't trust the journalists, Macfarlane interrupted. Well, Hitler was a vegetarian. Doesn't mean I like Donald Trump, Maher pushed back. They print the half that they want. That's going to make people like you, who are partisan, very partisan. You want to read something, oh, that makes me feel good. I read John Bolton's book for F's sake. I'm not partisan. Yeah, you are. I mean, he's 100%. If you read the New York Times, you're partisan. Let's just be honest. If you're a regular reader of the New York Slime, if you're a regular reader of, you know, these absolute garbage websites, then you're only looking to get your own biases reinforced. Fellow panelist Representative Adam Schiff, loser, went on to tell Maher that people tune into the news, they want to hear reinforce the views they already have. That's actually true. They're in an audience stoking business. That's what the media did. You see, Adam Schiff's not in prison. He ran. That's odd. If you look at the actual exchange, it's embarrassing for him.
And first of all, I have no idea what these outlets gain by allowing comments on their sites. It's like,
so again, I want to put this out there too. So Bill Maher Seth Macfarlane, Mega Brain, who used to be funny, starts off by saying we shouldn't allow comments on the internet. We shouldn't allow people to have a voice. He's essentially pro-censorship. Now, I guess not allowing comments on your website, is that particularly censorious? I don't know. Is there a perception that you should be allowed to comment on stuff? I would think so, but it's maybe not like I guess it's light, but it's weird that he would be against people voicing their opinions.
like this reporter took the time to research this, to fact check it, oversight from an editor, and if they got it wrong, then they have to print a retraction.
What if it's just slanted?
What
It's
if
not
what?
wrong, but what if it's just slanted? What if it's not wrong, it's just slanted? And that's what somebody's pointing out in the column.
Well, then
Were
write a
they-
letter to the editor. Do your research.
What is this, 1925? Write a letter to the editor? You mean the very same editor that you just said approved the article in the first place? I mean, he is so profoundly out of touch. All this Botox has gone to his brain. Like, he is so out of touch. It is wild. Write a letter to the editor. What are you talking about? These editors are all bought and paid for too. They're all scum. The very same editor that said, yes, let's print this article. You want me to appeal to them?
And formulate your argument
But
coherently.
that appears a week later.
So what? What's a
So
week?
because
So what? What's a week? The entire world's moved on by then.
but then I've forgotten it, or I don't
But
see
it's like
that.
there's this thing we take for granted now that the journalist who did the work gets to have their piece put on the same shelf as everyone else's spur of the moment bullshit.
Yeah? Because most journalists, that's how they run it too. They aren't exactly, not great when you have to reach for the reductio ad Trumpum. Yeah.
You seem to trust journalists more than I do.
I trust certain journalists. Yeah.
Yeah, I do.
I bet you Seth Macfarlane couldn't name 3 journalists. I just get this weird feeling like how smug he is with his answer too. I'd be willing to bet you couldn't name 3.
Certain ones I do,
Yeah.
not a lot. And
Not a lot?
no, and everything I read, whatever source, it's only half the truth. They print the narrative. They don't print truth.
That's a generalization, though.
Well, it is, but it's because it's generally true.
Really? But this
Yeah.
is
It's so funny that Seth Macfarlane, he's been rubbing shoulders in Hollywood for a very long time, seems to have his bubble completely burst here. He is completely blown away by the possibility that he cannot even fathom that Bill Maher doesn't trust journalists.
They print the side of the story.
By the way, that's exactly what Donald Trump wants. What you just said is exactly what he wants.
It doesn't matter.
Don't trust the reporters.
Okay.
Don't trust the journalists.
Well, Hitler was a vegetarian. Doesn't mean I'm like Donald.
I mean, he's right. Like, Macfarlane has profound TDS. The idea that, I mean, you can go to any one of these, they print their narrative, they don't print the truth. Bill Maher, Seth Macfarlane spar over media trustworthiness. You know, there's a lot of these like articles around, you know, from these new resistance type news outlets too. I don't really trust them either very often. I trust what my lying eyes tell me, you know, and I think that it's funny to me that people on the left, is Family Guy creator a role that's supposed to be nonpartisan? In Macfarlane's defense, he's an equal opportunity offender, but to entrust today's journalists it's like entrusting Quagmire on hookup advice. Wait, I would probably trust Quagmire on that. Bill Maher's right. Bill Maher's a neoliberal Trump. I mean, he's just like, I'm a big Family Guy fan, but every time I see Seth himself, he seems haughty, self-righteous, condescending, and insufferable. I would have thought the 9/11 thing alone might give him some humility. Shame. Still a Family Guy, though. I mean, yeah, the first 6 or 7 seasons of Family Guy was good. Seth MacFarlane's face looks like he's been hit by an eraser. What? I don't know. Like, I keep getting recommended Family Guy clips on YouTube, and half of them are families hooking up with each other. What's wrong with this guy? He used to take a lot of more risky, you know, poke fun at both sides. He's basically just a hack now. It came out when, like, I remember the episode where like Peter Griffin was fighting with the president or something. And then Peter Griffin kisses a picture of Obama or something really weird. It was like him versus Trump. It was like, that was kind of it for me. I was like, all right, well, you know, I know that most of the stuff coming out of Hollywood is going to be from some like liberal person, but like at least give me the illusion, the perhaps, you know, maybe a slight illusion that you are nonpartisan or that you are interested in entertaining and not interested in, you know, politicizing to me. But, just another embarrassment for Seth MacFarlane and the TDS clan in Hollywood. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure you leave a like on it. If you haven't yet, please do subscribe or follow down below, and we'll talk to you again real soon.